You are now listening to Mark the Medium of Mark's Unexplained World on Hinckley Community Radio, a non-profit podcast radio station. Tonight's episode is about the Gill family disappearance.
On the 13th of January in 2002, just a mere 21 years ago, in the Entre Ríos Province in Argentina, the Gill family disappeared. 6 members of this family just vanished without a trace, and as for their whereabouts, to this day, they still remain unknown. The Gill family lived on the La Candelaria Estancia, where Reuben Gill and his wife Margarita both worked as landlords, as well as taking on a variety of other jobs in the local area. This case has been characterized by much of the press and those involved in it as a full-on mysterious case. Greetings, Unexplainers. Thank you for tuning in again and listening to this episode of Mark's Unexplained World. I'm proud to say that this is episode number 52, so I have been presenting for a full year now. I hope you have enjoyed some of the strange and unexplained stories I have brought to you. There are still a lot more scheduled for the next 52 weeks, which certainly qualify for the strange and unexplained subject matter. My name is Mark Hughes. I'm a psychic medium, a crime buff, and a man who would not only worry if there had been a local murder, but would also worry if someone in authority decided to check my internet browsing history in order to cross me off their prime suspect list. Tonight, I'm going to tell you the mysterious story about the Gill family disappearance. And this week's necessary disclaimer. This story is a tale that sadly involves missing children, so may prove upsetting to some. You listen at your own discretion. Also, all opinions and comments are strictly my own, but the facts still remain 100% true. I also apologise if I pronounce anything incorrectly. My English, although it is my first and only language, seems to know a lot more than I do, so it can take a while for some of the words to sink in. Anyway, back we go to this story. According to Wikipedia, Entre Ríos is a central province of Argentina, located in the Mesopotamia region. It borders the provinces of South Buenos Aires, is that right?
Yeah.
North Corrientes and West Santa Fe to the west, and Uruguay to the east. Its capital is Paraná, which lies on the Paraná River opposite the city of Santa Fe. Together with Cordoba and Santa Fe, since the year 1999, the province is actually part of the Economic Political Association, which is known as the Centre Region. The Gill family consisted of 56-year-old husband and father Reuben Mencho Gill, 26-year-old mother and wife Margarita Norma Gallegos, and their 4 children, namely 12-year-old Maria Ofelia, 9-year-old Osvaldo Jose, 6-year-old Sofia Margarita, and 4-year-old Carlos Daniel. On the night of the 12th of January in 2002, the Gill family went on to visit a nearby town called Vale, to visit the home of one of their friends called Maximo Vega. This was the last time they were seen by anyone. In April of that same year, the provincial capital owner, Alfonso Goetti, contacted their relatives to inform them that the Gill family had not returned from their 3-month vacation that they had taken in January. According to the police investigation, on the 13th of January, calls were made from Ruben Gill's cell phone to the phone of a woman who was residing in Rosario. However, very unfortunately, the police were not able to trace the location of the woman in question. This cell phone remained active right up until April of 2003. That's a clear 15 months since the Gill's disappearance. A neighbour with the surname Villanueva, who lived across from the Gill family residence at the La Candelaria Estancia, claimed that he had seen the husband and father, Ruben Gill, riding on horseback on the 14th of January in 2002. Louise Eva Gill, who is the sister of Ruben, made the initial police report to the Vale police station regarding the disappearance of the Gill family. The case was then labelled as a missing persons investigation and was given to the Justice George Sebastian Gilano from Nagoya. And in mid-2015, the case was eventually transferred to Judge Gustavo Acosta. Going back to mid-2003, around 18 months after they went missing, Justice George Sebastian Galino, ordered a full investigation. Neither the neighbours or any of the relatives had any idea of what could have possibly happened to the Gill family. And the fact that they had left home from their own accord was very unlikely. They had no vehicle of their own, and the mother and wife, Margarita Gill, also had another job at the local school in town and had not even collected her latest salary. In 2006, the Gill family's plaintiff lawyer, Elvio Garzon, stated that some police officers had intervened in their disappearance. Garzon also states that at the same time, police officers also provided services in various police stations in the areas where the accountant Amado Abib and architect Mario Zapengo disappeared. On an interesting side note, after a little research, I found out that both Amado Abib and architect Mario Zapegno were possible victims of a desaparecido. Is that right?
Yeah.
Desaparecido. A person who has been abducted by a state or political organisation who then refused to acknowledge the person's fate or whereabouts, or to translate to English, enforced disappearances or forced disappearances. However, this hypothesis was neither looked into nor recorded anywhere in the case file. And on another interesting side note, because I'm full of interesting side notes, an enforced or forced disappearance is the secret abduction or imprisonment of a person by a state, political organisation, or by a third party with the authorization of another state, political organisation or a third party, followed by a refusal to acknowledge the person's fate and whereabouts, with the intent of placing the victim outside the protection of the law. According to the Rome Statute, is that right? Statute. I'll do that one again, I think. According to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, which came into force on the 1st of July 2002, when committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed at any civilian population, a forced disappearance qualifies as a crime against humanity, not subject to a statute of limitations in international criminal law. On the 20th of December 2006, United Nations General Assembly adopted the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearances. Often, forced disappearances implies murder, whereby a victim is abducted or may be illegally detained and is often tortured during interrogation, ultimately killed, and the body disposed of secretly. The party committing the murder has plausible deniability, as there is no evidence of the victim's death. States are now obliged under international human rights laws to return the remains of the forcibly disappeared person to their families. After a short break, we will look further into this strange disappearance and Alfonso Goethe's statement.
This show is brought to you by courtesy of Neil Packer and the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre. Find them online at www.hauntedresearchcentre.com or at 9 to 11 Regent Street, Hinckley, LE10 1AW. Open Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for guided tours of the haunted rooms at just £3 per person. Booking is essential at all times and over 16s only, unless accompanied by an adult. The haunted rooms are extremely haunted, and paranormal activity could, and has, taken place at any time. Some areas and particular objects or items can be quite scary and unnerving. Why not pay them a visit to see for yourself? Membership is available for £25 to qualify for selective discounts. And why not download the app, available on both iOS and Android, for only $3.99 to keep you up to date with what's coming up at the centre.
Fright Nights was established in 1999 and was the first company in the world to offer overnight ghost hunt experiences to the general public, pioneering paranormal events since the last century. Now, over 23 years old, hundreds of ghost hunts join Fright Nights every month for the most thrilling ghost hunting experience worth remembering. If you have never been on a ghost hunt before, then why not join them on an event to see what it's all about? Fright Nights currently operate at hundreds of the UK's most haunted and exclusive venues with their teams of experienced paranormal investigators, mediums and psychics. You are guaranteed a quality night of ghost hunting unequalled by any other company. They have a VIP members club for regular returning guests, offering discounts and exclusive event invitations. And they can host private events for you and your friends, clubs or work colleagues. They have also expanded their new Friends of Fright Nights pages with many more new things to come. So why not book early with a small deposit so you don't miss out? The balance is due 28 days prior to the event. Contact them on 078 0852 998 628 or email at frightnightsevents@gmail.com. That's FRIGHTSEVENTS@gmail.com. Or why not visit their website www.frightnights.co.uk, where you can see the many locations they investigate and learn a lot more about them and the opportunities they have available. You can also visit their many social media sites for up-to-date information on all the places they have been to and what's coming up in the future. They look forward to seeing you soon. Fright Nights Ghost Hunting Events. Remember, only the original will do.
So, let's get back to the Gill family disappearance. In 2008, a raid was carried out at the Gill family's home at the La Candelaria Estancia, during which the floor was raised, wells dug out, and scattered traces of blood were found using luminol. In total, 3 human bloodstains were recovered, but without the Gill's genetic pattern, experts made it clear that over time the blood samples would have been contaminated. Furthermore, the presence of the lack of flies, which always hover over human corpses, was also noted to be absent from the property. Therefore, the assumption that there were no bodies was made. Especially as the area was also monitored with an echo sounder in order to find traces of disturbed soil. However, none were detected. On yet another interesting side note, echo sounding, or depth sounding, is the use of a sonar machine for measuring range, normally used to determine the depth of water. It involves transmitting acoustic waves into the water and recording the time interval between emission and the bounced back return of a pulse. The resulting time of the flight, along with our knowledge of the speed of sound in water, allows us to determine the distance between sonar and target. This information is then typically used for navigation purposes or in order to obtain depth measurements for charting purposes. Echo sounding can also be used for measuring the range of other targets, such as schools of fish. Hydroacoustic assessments have traditionally employed mobile surveys from boats to evaluate fish biomass and spatial distributions. Conversely, fixed location techniques use stationary transducers to monitor passing fish. The word sounding is used for all types of depth measurement, including those that don't use sound, and is unrelated in origin to the word sound, in the sense of noise or tones. Echo sounding is a more rapid method of measuring depth than the previous technique of lowering a sounding line until it touches the bottom. But I digress. So let's get back to the subject at hand, the Gill family disappearance. In that same year, 2008, a psychological autopsy was conducted, through which a forensic psychologist concluded that the Gill family had no psychological or religious motives which could lead them to sever ties with their loved ones, and that while the family had little contact with other families in the area, husband and father Reuben Gill was a happy, sociable man who never looked sad. However, several witnesses reported that in the days before Reuben Gill's disappearance, he had an appearance of being very silent, thoughtful, and very concerned. In November 2011, the police conducted a search on a well out in the countryside where the family resided, but again, nothing was found. During the investigation, authorities investigated leads in different Argentine provinces, as well as the Paraguay and Brazil, but yet again, nothing. Among the different hypotheses, there was talk of a confrontation with the field owner and a sentimental conflict. However, neither of these leads led to anything conclusive. The Gill family have not appeared in any registry anywhere, including labour, immigration, education, or social security. A light did come on for a brief moment when, in 2010, the Gill's names suddenly appeared on the enrolment for universal allocation for their children, but this was later found to be a typing error. In 2015, the new Justice, Gustavo Acosta, and prosecutor Federico Uriburu decided to restart the investigation. Federico Uriburu made the following statement, and I quote, "The aim was to give more prominence to the case as well as to involve police officers to work on it." Investigations were also carried out in the Cordoban town of Porteña, a town of around 5,000 inhabitants, who where a community of rural workers from Entre Ríos was formed, but again, no clues were found. In addition, in August 2015, a drone flew over the area, photographing the La Candelaria Estancia, the Gill's home, and the surrounding fields in search of disturbed soil. An attempt was made to find the aerial photos of the area from 2002 so they could compare them with the ones taken from the 2015 drone. 3 years later, in February 2018, another search operation was carried out on the La Candelaria Estancia, following a lead provided by a rural contractor, Armando Nani, who said he had seen Reuben Gill complaining about the wells that he had been ordered to dig on the 14th of January, just days before his disappearance. Another water well was also inspected, but only the remains of animal bones were found. Rural contractor Armando Nani indicated that there was the existence of a stream on the land, which authorities had decided to be addressed when the budget was approved by the judiciary. This judiciary was held in 2018, and I have tried to find out if there's been any movement on the claim, but I can't seem to find anything on this case. A team of firefighters did investigate the well and indicated that perforations had been made in it since the terrain was removed. Husband and father, Reuben Gill's brother Osvaldo, and Margarita Gill's mother, Adelia, demanded that the basement of the La Candelaria Estancia should be investigated, since they alleged that the provincial capital owner, Alfonso Goeta, had recently refloored it with concrete. The provincial capital owner of the La Candelaria Estancia, Alfonso Goeta, hinted at the possibility that the family might have gone to Santa Fe or off to visit relatives, or they may have even migrated to the northeast in search for work. Alfonso Goeta also claimed that the Gill family had left all their possessions in the house, including money and documents. But when relatives of the Gill family visited the home, they couldn't find any of the said belongings. However, they did find the mattresses were all burned, and that there was blood mixed in with the dirt. According to Louisa Eva Gill, who is the sister of Rubin, Alfonso Goeta actually burned the mattresses because they were stained with blood. She also questioned Alfonso Goeta's account, which claimed that he had given the Gills an extended vacation, since he had never given them more than 10 to 15 days holiday a year before. In addition, the fact that Alfonso Goeta did not notice the Gill family's disappearance until 3 months later, and that some acquaintances declared that the relationship between Goeta and the Gill family was not particularly good, suspicions fell on the owner. However, no evidence has ever been located for this scenario. On the 16th of June 2016, at the age of 78, the provincial capital owner of the La Candelaria Estancia, Alfonso Goeta, was killed in a car crash. The truck he was driving steered out of control and overturned on Route 32 near the town of Sigu. With his death, the investigation of the possible deaths of the Gills could be reopened, and for this, the police commission was formed. You know, this wasn't an easy show to put together, mainly because there is very little information regarding the Gill family case. I did find a few newspaper clippings, but they were all written in Spanish and only available in a JPEG format, so I couldn't translate the information. I did find one YouTube video dedicated to this case, but again, it was one of those computer voiced efforts which personally I couldn't understand, and I don't even like those things anyway. However, I did manage to find enough information to hopefully keep you interested and informed as to the strangeness of this case. Hopefully, in time, the family will be found, and hopefully it will be good news and that they are safe and well. But I can't help but think that the worst has probably happened, whether it be by accident or not. For any of their friends and relations that may still be out there, I hope you get the answer soon.
Thank you all for taking the time out to listen to this episode, number 52 of Mark's Unexplained World. We hope to bring you many more subject matters over the following 12 months. Next time, we are going to look at the Hollow Earth concept. The Hollow Earth is a concept proposing that the planet Earth is entirely hollow, or at least contains a substantial interior space. In ancient times, the idea of a subterranean land inside the Earth first appeared in mythology, folklore, and in legends. Even today, the concept of a hollow Earth still recurs in folklore and as a premise for subterranean fiction. Hollow Earth also appears in conspiracy theories, and it is often said to be inhabited by mythological figures and political leaders.
This show was written and researched by myself, Mark Hughes, and proofread and edited by Linda Hughes. The actors in this episode were Mark Hughes, Linda Hughes, and Denise Pula, with special thanks to Neil Packer and the staff at the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, and a big thanks to everyone for listening. Mark's Unexplained World, because there's more to the paranormal than meets the third eye. And remember guys, keep it real, because being real is better than being perfect. This show and all its contents are covered by basic copyright of Mark the Medium.